Well, good morning, members of the jury, teachers, and classmates. My name is Francisca Vera. I'm from Tier Grade C, and I'm going to talk about the relationship between the society and the social media. But what is social media? To start, we need to know that the definition can be divided in two big parts. The social part refers to interacting with other people by sharing information with them and receiving information from them. The media part refers to an instrument of communication, like the internet, while TV, radio, or newspapers are more traditional forms of media. Okay, so from these two separate terms, we can put a basic definition together. Social media are web-based communication tools that enable people to interact with each other by both sharing and consuming information. Social media is the principal collective media for the people to communicate currently and also allows people to create, share, or exchange information by both sharing and consuming information. I think that most of you know about some social media and use them on a daily basis. Some of the most common ones are Facebook, Twitter, and WhatsApp, which I think are the most used nowadays. But do you know how many hours we spend on them? I think there is a big problem in society that instead of communicate with each other, we're focused on other people's lives. Therefore, communication is being affected by the use or misuse of it. So in this presentation, I'm going to talk about the consequences that social media let on society, whether are positive or negative. To start, I would like to present some pros about the use of social media. One of the most positive aspects of social media is the communication and that is fast. For example, you can send a message and that message takes only a few seconds to be delivered. That is extremely practical because nowadays when the people is extremely hurry up, it's important that the communication to be fast. Other aspect that is important is that social media let you making friends online. It has never been easier to make friends than it is right now. Years ago, it was difficult to connect with people that don't have the same thoughts as you. But now, the mobile phones let you meet people, and that person can accept you just the way you are. But let's not forget that it's important to talk with each other in real life instead of use mobile phones. As I already mentioned, everyone can communicate with everyone around the world. Therefore, network allows to keep the world in touch. Decades ago, the news takes a lot of time to be known. But now, with the social media, the communication is much fast. Moreover, being on social media allows us to have all the information we need. For example, the education. Now, you can educate yourself without paying for a teacher or a professor. Now, I will tell you some drawbacks or cons that social media have. The cons are more than the positive things because it came with the misuse of the persons. One drawback of social media is the unreliable information because every day millions of people spread all sorts of information. Unfortunately, this includes information that is false or made up. That information can cause panic and severe misinterpretation in society. Other important fact is the addiction to this platform. As you can see in both pictures, the girls say, if my phone dies, I die. And that is a big problem because today we're not capable to be around without a phone. I know that most of you are without a phone right now. That means, creo que todos ustedes están con un celular en sus manos ahora. Y me gustaría, and I'd like to say to you that you raise your hand if you're using your cell phone right now. That means que levanten la mano si ustedes tienen un teléfono con ustedes. Well, one of the biggest problems with social media today is that people are becoming more and more addicted to using it. It is the #1 waster at work, at school, and at home. The waste of time makes a society to be more focused on the life of other people instead of themselves. The addictive part of social media is very harmful and can disturb personal lives as well. The teenagers, it means you, are the most affected by this addiction. You get involved in long hours and are eventually cut off from the society. Also, social media cause a decrease in face-to-face communication. As you can see in the picture, there is a couple, and they're eating and asking each other, how was your day? But they're not really communicating because they're using their mobile phones. Another negative aspect is the sleep disruption. As you can see in the picture, is someone who wakes up, uses a computer, and again is in the bed. This is something bad because you lose the capacity to make a response to someone, and I think it's a very negative point. Another aspect I would like to consider is there other disadvantages consequences that are more negative or more extensive than they are already mentioned. There are the manipulate information, I mean the fake news, that nowadays people all around the world can invent some sort of news, and sometimes they are not true. But it's difficult to know because the information is manipulated quickly. Easy access to online advertisement increase political polarization and to think that someone is real and is not. For example, here in Chile last year, someone invented that the gas stations were out of petrol and gasoline, but that wasn't true. And that caused panic on the people because they do a never-ending row in every gas station, and the traffic couldn't get his right flow. This is just one example in our country, but the consequences of fake news can be more destructive and dangerous than we can imagine. Another drawback is catfishing, and I would like to mention what is this because normally people don't know what is catfish. Catfishing came from a show named Catfish, from this show. And that means someone who pretends to be someone they're not using Facebook or other social media. So being exposed leads to catfishing because you share information without being aware of what you are sharing. In many cases, these people are liars and can ask you for money and can lie about what they are. That causes frauds, endless lies, and confusion to the people who believe these lies. Personally, I think that we should be more careful with the people we pay attention to in social media because most of them have not the best intentions. Now, I will refer to maybe the most painful and disappointing drawback in social media, that is cyberbullying. That means bullying that takes place using electronic technology. Now, teenagers are getting more affected by social media because the people have the capacity to bother someone online instead of hurting someone physically. In occasions, cyberbullying leads teenagers to commit suicide, falling into depression, and have a lack of self-esteem. As a community, we should be very alert about this because the people think because being mean to someone online is not something to be proud of. It is shameful and sad to see how these people think they are better while it's completely the opposite one. As a personal opinion, I think that social media is very useful tool in certain occasions. Social media has its advantage and disadvantage. I think it is a good way to interact and allows us to keep updated with the current issues and events. It also allows us to keep in contact with people from other countries and from people you don't see very often. However, there are a lot of people that social media can become from them overwhelming and potentially dangerous. Also, it is important to recognize the difference between the real and the virtual world. From my point of view, I think that it is not healthy, for example, having a relationship between social media because it's better to communicate with each other and make a real relationship in real life. As a conclusion, and leaving aside my personal opinion, the benefits and disadvantages of social media depends on how every person uses it. The social media connects the world, and that is a big step for the community. Nevertheless, the globally thought about the social media has a lot of disadvantage, but they come only for the misuse of it. People has the power to control it, so once we are being able to be careful of what information we share or on how much time we spend on them, everything will turn out fine. Use of social media depends on us. The more careful we are, more useful they will become. There are my sources, but I read essays, articles, and opinions about the social media. Thank you for your attention, and I hope you enjoyed my presentation.